Well, a warm welcome to you all on this Friday evening. I'm JJ. I am a life coach and I have been doing carnivore for more than 2 years.
Oh, I'm a novelist and I've been doing carnivore for the same amount of time. And for me, carnivore is beef and eggs and bacon and a crap ton of butter.
All right. When you say that, I've maybe been mostly meat. I mean, I've not done beef, butter, bacon, and eggs.
Well, neither have I. I haven't done it for the full 2 years. But right now, what carnivore looks like to me is that.
Okay. I get it. I've got a little more variety. I have some chicken on occasion.
Yeah. Me,
Yeah.
well, chicken,
Yeah.
a little pork here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were at Chicago meetup a week ago tomorrow.
That's true. Yes. It's our second meetup. The first one was in Thiensville, Wisconsin. They've both been Healing Humanity events with Carrie Mann.
We did the auction one, though.
Oh, yeah, that's
Don't
right.
forget that bid on beef one.
I forgot. This is our third. So yeah, the first one was just a cookout. The second one was the beef auction.
Mm-hmm.
And this was an event where there were speakers and doctors. And so it had a very different feel.
It was exciting because it was the first time seeing what Carrie calls the good doctors
Yes.
in person. Who was there?
It was Dr. Kiltz, Dr. Hampton, and Dr. Wiedemann. Those were the doctors. And then we also heard from Adam, who is doing cinematography for Healing Humanity. And even though I've met him before, it was really nice to hear him tell his story. And we heard from Carrie's wife, Jen, who told her story a little bit, and also Emma, his daughter, who got up and told her story. So that was really fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed all of it. I thought Adam's story was incredible. I didn't know it. I didn't know the whole backstory. It was great.
Mm-hmm. I had just seen him interviewed. Maybe it was with Dr. Kiltz, I think, actually. So I had just really heard his story within a week of going, and then he got up and talked about it. And it was an incredible story.
Say hello in the comments. Let us know who you are, where you are, and how long you've done carnivore, or are you just carnivore curious and you're checking us out to see what I've been doing wrong on carnivore? Because the title of the video was, have I been doing carnivore wrong all along?
So it was interesting, this meetup, because a couple days before you're like, I think I need to eat more fat. And then we went to this event where really one of the overriding messages was that you need to eat more fat.
Yeah.
Not you, that we need to usually eat more fat.
Yeah. And this is not new. I mean, if you follow the carnivore community or even the keto community, it's very often, 20% of your calories are from fat. Although I don't track calories, and I didn't track macros either, because it's hard for me to do anything that requires tracking.
Mm-hmm.
But as I experiment with different things to try to solve some lingering issues, I'm like, always looking for what could it be? Is it oxalates? Is it some sort of a mineral deficiency or electrolytes or electrolytes, I guess, are minerals, vitamins. I don't know what it. And so I'm always trying different things to see if I can solve these problems. And in a conversation, just talking about my triglycerides, which I know can be boring to hear about, but I was confronted with, Eric, it's probably most likely that you still have some residual insulin resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And the experiment you should try is just eat more fat, a little less protein, and see what happens. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. And so I started doing that, and it's been interesting so far because, once I made that change, I'm like, well, I wonder if my ketones are any different. And they are, because the way I'd been eating, and I guess it was probably 70-30, 60-40, because I didn't track, I didn't know. Probably a little bit heavy on the protein. I was getting if I tested my ketones, which I rarely did, it was 0.5, 0.4, 0.6, just kind of hovering in that lower level. And of course, I have a Keto Mojo, and it has its own made up measure,
right?
The GKI.
Yes.
And it was always terrible. Now, I know Dr. Barry's like, don't pay attention to the GKI, but it's reported. So I have to look at it. And I want it to be optimal because it appears in front of my eyes. But you follow, the GKI or the Dr. Boz ratio?
Yes. So in this past year, so let me first say, for more than a year and a half, I tracked nothing. I did nothing. I got amazing results. So if you are new, if you are carnivore curious, if you're like, I don't want to track anything ever in my life, that's okay. You're still going to reap tons of benefits from the carnivore diet. But I started watching Dr. Boz, and she is very, very insistent on you're not in ketosis unless you are producing some pretty decent ketones, basically. And she talks about all of this. And she also talks about that lingering insulin resistance where we can be doing a ketogenic / carnivore diet for a long time, and our liver is still hanging on to basically crystallized sugar in our liver that doesn't get released unless we really push our metabolism more. So I started following her maybe summerish. And one of the things that I did notice is that if I up my fat, Dr. Elizabeth Bright too is a big on fat. So
yeah, stick of butter a day.
Yeah. So I upped my fat a while ago. And then with Dr. Boz, I started tracking my ketones more and doing a little bit more extended fasting, which for me usually looks like between 40 and 48 hours of fasting. And I noticed that when I was in deeper ketosis, my mental state was so much better. And so I kind of became a bit of a ketone chaser.
Ketone junkie.
Yes, ketone junkie. But the reason this is relevant is that you've been sort of envious of my mental state.
Yes, she gets this carnivore bliss, and she's all fla-di-da and thinks the world is just full of butterflies and everything's beautiful and people are beautiful and isn't life great? And I'm like, well, intellectually, I understand that to be the case. But in the past when I had done keto, I would get into relatively high states of ketosis relatively easy. And so I just always assumed, well, I've adapted to it. My ketones are just down naturally because I've been doing it so long. Well, the short version, which this is not, is I got up this morning, my ketones were 2.7.
Yeah.
Or something like that without fasting. And I haven't gotten there in ages. Now, I had done a few days of MCT oil just to get the ketones up, just to see if it had any immediate effect. Not on my triglycerides, obviously, but just on my mental state. And while it did, it bothered my stomach a little bit. And I was like, I'm just going to skip it. And it turns out I didn't really need to add those. But I do think that I notice better cognitive function. I don't know that my mood has been transformed, but considering the terrible sleep I've gotten in deeper ketosis, my mood's been pretty good.
Okay, yeah, he doesn't think his mood's been transformed yet.
Okay, let me hear it.
Yet, Eric suffers from sort of a seasonal mood stuff.
I'm winter not blues.
The winter blues, yes. And before carnivore, it was dark. It was not good. So since he's been on carnivore, it has been much better. But this year you had slipped into it a little more than you have in recent years.
Yeah.
And so what I've seen since in this last week-ish, since you've added more fat, is that you're normal Eric. You're not winter blues Eric. Oh. So,
well, good.
Yeah.
It's early days, so I intend to continue to go into this level of deeper ketosis. I have some blood labs coming. I don't know if I'll have done it long enough for it to have made a difference, but once I get those, I'll report back on those. But I'm I feel like after listening to the doctors at the meetup, this is the move to make. And before you worry that I'm I'm carnivoring harder, I just want to say I feel like I'm carnivoring the same, but slightly differently. But actually, I don't like butter on steak.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do like butter on steak, it turns out. And I have my bacon and egg yolks every morning.
Mm-hmm.
And when I add the butter to the egg yolks, it almost becomes a cheese.
Oh.
It's really interesting flavor and texture.
Mm.
Yeah. So what else happened at the meetup that was of interest?
One thing is we got to see some of the footage that is
Healing Humanity.
The Healing Humanity footage. And they were very careful about showing us only what they could, and we can't talk about certain things and all of that stuff.
Yeah, we couldn't film it or anything.
Yeah, that's right. But what I wanted to say, I mean, slight side story for a second. When you wrote your first couple books.
Yes.
I saw you writing the books.
Mm-hmm.
I've read your short stories. I've read your writing in the past. Yet there was this thing about holding the book and reading it and going, oh my gosh, this is a real book my husband wrote.
Yep.
So cognitively, I knew that he could write, but it became very real.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the same thing here where, I mean, we've all been watching Carrie in this process and Adam in this process, and I knew it was going to be good, but actually seeing it on the screen with editing and all that sort of thing, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a real movie.
It's going to be really good. The contrast between Bill Knott and was it Maggie from Canada?
Mm-hmm.
The rancher,
I believe so.
In her 80s.
Yeah.
I don't see how anyone could go away from just watching that footage not going, I am only going to be eating meat from now on.
Mm-hmm.
It was super obvious, that is how you must eat. Great. And they warned us this hasn't been color graded or anything like that. I don't know. It looked good to me.
It looked amazing.
Yeah.
It was, I was really, I talked to Adam afterwards and I was like, chef's kiss, beautiful. So that, it was good.
We did see some other YouTubers. I don't know if we talked to a lot of them. I saw them across the room. There was no way for me to meet and talk to everybody because I'm not super extroverted, as I may have mentioned before. Mm-hmm. But we ended up talking to Dr. Kills for a while. And when he is with you, he just has this laser looking at you, and then he convinces you in 2 seconds you need to eat more fat. Because it's like, eat the fat, eat the fat, eat the fat.
Oh my gosh.
So that was really great.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Dr. Hampton. I need to take a note. Oh. Hold on. I want to come back to that one.
So I left that. I'm eating more fat, and the artificial sweeteners in the diet sodas gone.
We also met other people other than doctors, which was awesome. I want to give a shout out to Courtney, who for some reason I kept meeting in the bathroom. It was just funny. And Courtney, I am still not on WhatsApp. I don't know what the deal is. So if you are watching, I am still working on the project, but it locks me out for a day. So I get one try a day to troubleshoot, and I've tried everything. So anyway, it was delightful meeting Courtney and so many others.
Yeah. And we met Charles, who is in the chat. That's Darth Carnivore.
Oh yeah. Yes,
right there.
Charlie.
He says, I'm jealous of Rancher Maggie's biceps. You will be meeting Charles on our channel Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
He has an incredible story, and I'll leave it at that.
Period.
Yep. So let's check in with the chat. Allie C says, hi from Massachusetts. Carnivore 3 years soon. Congratulations.
And batten down the hatches. The cold is coming.
Carnivore Chins, I'm late, but I'm here.
Oh, Yes, you are in our hearts and minds on Saturday.
Yep.
There will come a Chicago meetup. You will be there. I know it.
You gave us the best shout out on your channel. Thank you so much for that. It really meant a lot to me. Check out Carnivore Chance's channel, stroke survivor using Carnivore to try to get back some function. Very early days, but he's spreading the word. Yeah. And just absolutely a message of love and hope. A great channel. Reno GR. Hi from Michigan, carnivore since August. Keto before that, down 100 pounds since September of 2023.
Wow. Congratulations.
Us together are not down 100.
No. No.
Yeah, and I hear some of these stories and I'm like, yeah, I've not been doing carnivore right.
Well, if you lost 100 pounds, you'd be in serious.
I didn't have 100 to lose, yeah.
No, but hearing that is phenomenal. Yeah. And, we always say in the carnivore community, we understand the weight loss is life-changing, especially something like that. And I cannot imagine all of the other benefits that you've seen alongside of that weight loss. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello, OG or Ogie. You never tell me how to pronounce it, so I'm going to do it both ways every time. Glad to see you back. Sonia, hello from Alabama.
Hey, I think you're getting some cold.
Yeah, everybody's getting bad weather.
Coming your way as well. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Are you carnivore, Sonia? Or are you just thinking about it? Here's Darth Carnivore. I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that name. Hey, from Indy, carnivore for 1.5 years.
Look at
the avatar.
Yes.
Darth Vader.
My gosh,
grilling. And it's hard to see. It's like poking something with a lightsaber. I love it. You are automatically in the circle despite your bear fandom, Chans. No worries. Joss says, hello, I live near the Chicago meetup, but I couldn't attend because I was away on a trip. I hope there's another one soon. How many people attended? Did you go out to eat?
Would you say there were about 100?
Yeah, give or take. Yeah, I didn't count.
No. So it was relatively small. We didn't meet everyone, obviously, but it was relatively small and nice group. And we didn't make it in time for the Brazilian steakhouse dinner. We didn't buy our tickets in time. They were sold out. But that was okay. I think we were socialed out.
I'm sure it would have been great. And we would have loved having done it, but I need to ease into these things.
Here's the nice thing though, is that everyone hung out in the lobby of the hotel for like an hour and almost a half. And so we did get a lot of chance to socialize as well, even though we didn't go to the dinner. So yeah, it was great.
Lisa's here. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you. Allie says, I'm working on ketosis too. Lately, I've been binging Dr. Boz and absolutely stopped eating at 1 to 2 p.m. Ketones in the 3 range ever since.
Yes. I've been rereading a lot of her material, probably for the 4th, 5th time. I don't know. And she does her videos, but I'm really starting to understand it at a deeper level. This whole idea of how one can still be insulin resistant after years of carnivore and how the body just sort of adapts. So again, if you're new to carnivore, just stay the course carnivore, and you don't know where you'll be in 2 years. You might not need to do anything, and you might be in a different phase of your carnivore journey. So yeah, all based on your history, basically.
I also try to be done eating by 4 p.m. 1 to 2 p.m. a little early for me right now.
Yeah,
because I'm having breakfast too. But today I just got done with dinner. So I ate late, so who knows what's going to happen. But my sleep's been lousy with deep ketosis, so.
We've both been.
I don't know. Hopefully it'll adjust. Oh, another weird thing that happened was my resting heart rate increased by 20 beats overnight because my 8 sleep mattress measures the lowest that it gets, and it usually gets down to around 60. And now it's been getting down to 79, 80. And then during the day, it's been kind of high. And so I of course started asking ChatGPT, what's wrong with me? But it basically, and actually there's several of the good doctors have videos on, is your heartbeat elevated starting carnivore? And it's electrolytes or it's an adaptation. And so it's not really making me too nervous. It's just an interesting side effect.
You tend to, whenever you tweak things, you tend to have some adaptation
some
that you
sort of
notice.
adaptation. What do you think of Dr. Boz embracing GLP-1 drugs? I saw that video. And she had gone to some conference, and it seemed to me that she was more excited about the ones that are coming than the ones that are currently here. But she's a doctor, so she needs to be able to use whatever tools are appropriate depending on the patient. And it sounds to me that she thinks that there will be cases where this will be very helpful. So I'm not going to second guess her judgment on that.
No, and she's also very clear that she believes it needs to be done in conjunction with a ketogenic diet. It's not a replacement for.
Yeah, the diet has to be in place for it to be effective.
Yeah.
Or at least for her to be comfortable with it.
Yes.
So, but I personally don't have anything against the GLP-1s. I never had, well, one, I didn't have type 2 diabetes, but two, I didn't have that much weight that it was ever a question for me. But I think she's proven herself willing to change her mind with new evidence on other topics. So that doesn't bother me. Deborah says, hello from Vancouver, Washington. 2 years and loving it. Love hearing that.
Yes. And hello. Happy Friday evening.
Carnivore. I'm jealous of, we saw this one. Rancher Maggie's when she flexes her biceps in that video, you will not believe she's in her 80s.
Yeah.
And isn't a bodybuilder.
But and we saw footage where she picked up 2 full 5-gallon buckets of, I think, water. Like,
I don't know. Something
in each hand. Like,
and each one
farmer carries,
they said, was 25 pounds. So that was 50 pounds each arm, 100 pounds, and she picked it up and carried it.
No problem.
Yeah. Maggie's, she's a superhero. Lisa says, well, I want to do an interview eventually. Introvert till the end.
We love your story of starting at the pizza place too, Lisa. So she's now at a butcher shop, but starting carnivore when you work at a pizza place.
Oh, Sonia's answered my question.
Okay.
I am back and forth ketovore to carnivore, but I'm trying to finally go completely carnivore this year. Makes sense to me. You've been having that conflict in your mind as well.
I have over the last couple years, I have salad maybe every 10 to 14 days. I'll have a salad or some other vegetable because I'm out at a restaurant and it's the thing that's there. And so it's a social thing. And I've never felt like I've had any issues with that. And I've had great results the rest of the time and everything's good. But more and more lately, I feel like maybe it is affecting me. And again, maybe I was fine. Maybe it wasn't really, and now it is. Who knows? So I've been pretty careful the last couple weeks about what has come into my diet, and it's been all carnivore. There have not been veggies entering my diet the last couple weeks. So, yeah.
How did you go about increasing your fat intake? I think I mentioned I'm adding butter mostly to supplement. And I did this whole thing where I used a tin of sardines as an example. The ones I had to work out to 50-50 calories from fat and protein. And so I worked out the math that I need like 2 tablespoons of butter to supplement with every tin to get the fat proportioned correctly. So now I'm not measuring anything. I'm not weighing and measuring. I'm just adding blobs of butter. And then I'm letting my digestion tell me that I've gone too far.
And by him doing the math, he means he asked Chat GPT to help him.
No, I did do that originally, but I created a spreadsheet.
Oh, interesting.
I created a spreadsheet to calculate it. I
Interesting.
could have calculated it, on paper, but I didn't want to.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Hello, JJ and Eric. Nice to see you guys live from New York.
Hello, Esther.
Live from New York. It's JJ and Eric. No, we're not from New York. We're from Wisconsin. But yeah, wonderful to see you. Oh,
yeah.
It's pronounced like groggy without the GR. Aggie.
Nice.
Aggie.
Nice.
You will remember that. And then when it comes up, you'll pronounce it next time. I love that. So, let's see, where are we on this thing? There's been some, I don't know. I didn't click on any of the news items because I don't like being made irritated by nutrition news, but it sounds like somebody's come out and said, yeah, maybe red meat's not that bad for you. And I had to create this little meme here that the nutritional epidemiology would say that this is a red meat meal.
Oh, yeah.
And look at that patty. It causes diabetes, heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's. You can just tell by looking at it that the meat is a really big problem.
Yeah, definitely it's the meat.
That's funny.
Yes, it is.
Our last video, if you're new to carnivore or carnivore curious, you should watch the last video we did because it is starting carnivore in 2025. Not that the 2025 really matters.
Only this year.
Yeah, it's like our guide to weight loss and energy or something like that. And it's like an hour. So you can sit back, you can listen to it. There's very few visual aids.
Yeah.
So you don't really need them. The first 20 minutes is us talking about our transformation. And then the rest is just the basics, the stuff that most of you probably already know. But if you don't, or you just like our voices, check that one out, share it with friends who need to hear it.
Well, it's always good to get some reinforcement, I think. And I'll go through little waves of where, I'm off the carnivore videos for a week or so, and then I'm back on them again.
Yeah. Well, it's like listening to a Dr. Berry live. I've said before, it's like I could answer the questions now because I've watched him so many times. But sometimes it's just good to put that on in the background and just, as you were saying, just have it reaffirm and reprogram the mind around it.
And for right now, we are back to recorded videos on Tuesday. We're getting back in the swing of things with that and then doing our lives on Friday.
Let's see here. We are going to be next at COSI in Las Vegas, February 7th through 9th. So attending, not appearing. So if you're going to be there, let us know. Maybe we can meet you. But we're excited to see all the good doctors and the various other scientists, Dave Feldman, Nick Norowitz, and the whole gang give a bunch of talks about low carb and the health benefits. So we will be doing that. And then come May, we will be in Gatlinburg at Meatstock, the 17th and the 18th.
That's almost like an anniversary trip for us.
Yeah, almost.
Just a few days after our anniversary.
Which anniversary will be 28?
I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah, it's going to be 28. Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, well, we just had last October was our 30th for dating.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Allie says, you should do a meetup at your new house. We mentioned that to Carrie, and he's like, great, I'm down. Yes.
It is something we'd like to do. We have a great outdoor space for a cookout meetup.
Yeah, a warm weather one.
Warm, yes.
Yeah.
So we would definitely like to do that at some point in the future. It's on our list.
Yeah, it's the organizing of it is a bit of an issue because I'm not a planner. But you'd come down. Well, we'll try to figure something out. We gotta think about that.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a perfect property for it. Let's see here. Lisa says, I just want to say thank you so much for doing the live after I get home after 6 p.m. Eastern. I'd hate to not be able to participate, but Tuesdays are great. So that's kind of a nudge to keep doing those. Well, sometimes we will do it a live on Tuesday when we didn't figure out a pre-recorded one, but we have a bunch of good ones coming up. So
yeah. Now I have not been watching. I just mentioned I'll kind of move into the carnivore videos and then out. Well, I've not been watching a lot, so I don't know what's going on in the carnosphere right now a whole lot, because it feels like my year has like that first week-ish, a little more than a week, it was still kind of holiday and I didn't have a lot on my schedule. Well, now it's back to work. And one of those things is the youth theater. We did auditions last week for the youth theater. So this last weekend and early this week. And so now it was the casting process. So it's the show is cast. We work with kids who are generally, we couple second graders, but generally it's 4th grade through 8th grade. And oh my gosh, I knew what we were doing. I helped make the decision of the show we were doing. But now that I'm actually into the show process, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the worst show in the world, because it is Willy Wonka. So yes, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is what we're doing for our play, and for our carnivore, like every line in there, and have every happy association with childhood and candy. And oh my goodness, it is a nightmare. The lead director has already started making props of the giant lollipops and stuff. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I wonder if you could do a carnivore, Charlie and the Abattoir. I don't think that'd be a good kids material though.
I don't think so. But yeah, so I've been steeped in that instead. And again, it is just, I'm shaking my head going, oh my gosh. The Candyman song, and oh my goodness. yeah, literally I'm going to be choreographing to the Candyman song. Now, I have to say, this is no trigger. None of this is a trigger for me. It's just a big, giant eye roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has become almost like a take a drink kind of a thing on our channel. But on our channel, it's take a drink of your electrolytes. We're going to mention Dr. Georgia Ede again. And I'm just going to put Chris Ballmer's book up here next to it. Dr. Ede was on 2 great podcasts on YouTube. The first was Dr. Perlmutter. They had an hour-long conversation. Covers a lot of this stuff. If you're familiar with her work, she's a psychiatrist. She found that keto helped her own mental health and then has been using it clinically to great effect. And so she discussed with Dr. Perlmutter her research and the power of keto or ketosis. She's not necessarily carnivore, but she's not anti-carnivore. And then she was also just on Diary of a CEO. And I had just seen one previously to that. Great podcast just in general. And what I liked about that one is that the host, Stephen, asked her some really obvious sort of basic questions. If you were coming from a non-carnivore frame of mind, and she was telling you that, keto and ketosis was going to help with mental health, you'd be like, well, maybe it's just the calorie restriction, or maybe it's similar to the Mediterranean diet, and that's it. So I thought that it was a great opportunity to hear her respond to normies and not just people who are already on board. So I recommend both of those, one or both of those. She's very, very clear in her explanations as well.
Oh, I love her clarity. It's just incredible.
Yeah. She's in ketosis, so her mind is just like a steel trap.
And she tends to eat carnivore personally.
Oh, does she?
Yeah. When she strays into ketovore, she tends to notice issues.
Yeah.
So she tends to try to stay fairly strict carnivore for herself yet she knows she wants to reach as many people as possible. And she's dealing with people who have mental health issues. And so going all the way carnivore is a big ask sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had a whole little part of it on ADHD. And it was because she had worked at a college psychiatrist. She was encountering students all the time who either really had it and wanted the medicine or wanted the medicine. But what she found was a lot of success with deep ketosis.
I believe it.
I'm sure I would have had that diagnosis had it existed when I was a kid.
I believe so as well.
And
now that I've learned, you're not like I had a cousin who had that diagnosis, and he was a bouncing off the walls type of kid. You weren't.
No, I would have been the ADD kid.
Yeah, exactly. So now that I've learned more of the symptoms, that I would guess you would be.
Let's see here. You talked about that.
Oh,
you want to hit this now?
I do. So one of the things that we heard at the meetup. Hello, I gotta rewind back to where I was 5-10 minutes ago. We saw Dr. Hampton there. I'd never seen him speak publicly, and it was awesome. He was a fabulous speaker, and he had someone in the audience who had a question for the Q&A portion around. They had gotten off of their antidepressants, their medication, I believe it was antidepressants, and had needed to go back on, and felt like it was like this person was really emotional and felt like they'd kind of failed and wanted to get back onto or wean themselves back off the antidepressants. And his quote was something along the line of, "Our goal should not be getting off medication. It should be living our life fully." And then he went on to talk about that a little bit. And anything that we do to help us live our life more fully, should be the aim. If we're not losing weight, is this diet helping you live your life more fully? If you're not reaching the triglycerides goal, is this diet still helping you to live your life more fully? So I just loved that reframe to take the pressure off these arbitrary things that we think we're doing carnivore for. And yet that end goal is that we all want to live our life, the time we have here right now, more vitally, more fully. And if that means Ozempic, and if that means an antidepressant, and if that means you're still carrying around 30 extra pounds, what difference does it make?
Yeah, if you're engaged and are feeling good.
Yeah.
If you need to lean on a medication, that is no source of shame whatsoever.
No.
I get the impulse because I had it myself.
Well, yeah.
I wanted to be off my SSRI.
We're up.
And because I didn't want to be on the medicine. So I understood her point of view entirely. And I wanted to find her and talk to her about it, but it's just one of those crowds thing.
Yeah.
But if I had to go back on my SSRI, I would.
Yeah.
But so far I don't have to.
Yeah. And I get what she's saying too, because we're talking here about things where, goals we're chasing still. Yeah. And I just think we can do that. It can be, there's a little experimentation, the N of one, a little fun. How much more can I do? Oh, that reminds me of the Encanto. What else can I do?
We just saw that and I don't remember that.
Yes. So we have a tendency to do that, and we can't lose sight of that ultimate goal. Are we moving toward living a life more fully? So.
I just hear Dr. Barry talking about vitamin P. And that sometimes it's also just takes more time than you think it should. Like for me, having done this more than 2 years, I'm like, there can't be anything to wring out of the rag of carnivore.
And you don't look like you should still have insulin resistance.
Yeah, right. but I didn't probably look like I had insulin resistance for the first 20 years either. And
that's true.
And I'm surely did.
Oh, yes.
So the body can heal in amazing ways if you give it the nutrition it needs, but that doesn't mean it's going to do it.
No.
Some things happen like that, and some things take their sweet time. Let's see. Lisa says, I bring steak home from work, chop it into tiny pieces, and give it to my feral cat. Well, it's not going to stay feral if you keep giving it.
I think this one isn't too, if I'm remembering a previous conversation. But that's one lucky cat.
Yeah. Is its name Tartar? Willy Wonka Goes Carnivore is a movie that needs to be made.
Yep.
We watched the Timothée Chalamet version, which I was so confused. I thought we were watching
Charlie and
the Chocolate Factory. So when it started to be really good and I was enjoying it, I was like, I didn't expect it to be good. And then wait a minute, this isn't the story. Where are the kids?
Yep.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that. That's my doctor, Dr. Hampton.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, he was great.
And Darth Carnivore says, Dr. Hampton was a real treat to see and meet in person. Very thoughtful and compassionate in how he crafts his responses. Yeah, that's for sure. It was interesting because he and Dr. Kiltz were sitting next to each other, and Dr. Kiltz has a different way of being.
Totally different vibe.
Which is very demonstrative, speaks in more absolute terms. Whereas Hampton he's a little more soft-spoken, a little more measured in how he approaches a topic. It was just interesting.
Yeah, it was great.
It wasn't a problem. It was just interesting.
Yes, and Dr. Wiedemann, let's bring her up for a moment. I don't want to leave her out. She really did talk about the addiction side of food.
Oh, yeah, that was very powerful, actually.
Yeah, it was very powerful about, just the addiction, and talked about her journey as well.
There was a beautiful tribute to Jeff DeProsperous.
Oh, yeah.
That was a no dry eye in the room moment.
Yeah.
That was really great. And let's see here. In the words of Eric Carnivore, you have to wrench up. Yeah. Yeah. Ratchet up. Every gain becomes your new foundation from which to move. Yep. That's a recurring theme.
Yep.
All right. I think we covered our main topics we had written down.
Yeah, we did.
Let's talk about this.
All right. Go ahead.
This is a slightly away from carnivore.
We've never done that before.
I listen to podcasts all the time, and usually they're on YouTube, and then I just turn my phone off and listen to the audio. If you're a a Tim Ferriss fan or aware of him, he's had a long-running, very popular podcast. I listened to it on and off, but he just interviewed an individual whose life story was so incredible and so inspiring on so many levels that I just have to recommend it. And it is Cyan Bannister, and it's spelled Cyan. Just search for Tim Ferriss, 2 R's, 2 S's, and Cyan Bannister. She's an angel investor in Silicon Valley, and they do talk about a little bit about her investments, but it's not about that. It's about her incredible life, growing up parentless for a good portion of it, homeless for a portion of it, developing this incredible ability to sort of hustle. And then this journey of inquiry and self-study that led and one meeting one person leading to meeting another person to another person, and how she ratcheted up her whole life from nothing to just this incredible, not only success in life, but this enormous wisdom.
Yes.
And I would say an openness and just lightness of being, considering the very dark childhood she had. So I highly recommend it. I don't want to give any spoilers. Just listen to it and enjoy it. There's some just astonishing things in it.
Yeah. I finished it up today.
Yeah, I made her listen to it.
I was happy to listen to it. It was very good. Yeah, very good.
So I've been back to cooking my steaks in the air fryer from frozen.
What?
Yeah, because somebody in a comment somewhere said they had been doing that technique. And I was like, that's how I started. Was the frozen. I call it the Jordan Peterson method because he mentioned it on Twitter long ago and people excoriated him for it. But frozen solid as a brick, throw it in the air fryer and start cooking it. And then after, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, it's thawed enough you can salt it if you want to. And then you flip it. And then the trick that I use is I do the reverse sear. So I take it out of that and then I put it in the hot pan to finish it off. And I've had great success with it. Yeah, with a lot less fiddliness.
You don't like fiddliness.
I do not.
That's for sure. And I mean, we've been having for dinner steak on steak.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
Yeah.
And I some time ago I gave up the steak seasoning that I really liked because it had a little bit of artificial sweetener in it. And that wasn't the biggest problem with it. I figured out it was really causing me some stomach issues out of nowhere. All of a sudden, one night, it was like this really strange, uncomfortable sensation. And then it didn't happen. And then I ate another steak and that night it happened again on like an 8-hour delay. Like during the day, it didn't bother me. And then at night it would.
That's the tricky thing with food, though.
Yeah, really weird. And who knows? It might not have been the artificial sweetener. It might have been some herb or spice that was in that little seasoning. And so I had to abandon it. But it was the thing that made the steak super, super good and yummy. So I had to get rid of that. Now the steaks are kind of like just okay.
You had to use it for a while with your sort of aversion. I mean, you went from ground beef. You did a big period of ground beef.
Which I never liked.
And then you moved into steaks, but this really was what helped you get them down for a long time. Yeah. He messaged me. I cooked last night and he messaged me, can you put seasoning on the night before?
Yeah.
Can you put seasoning salt on mine? I assumed he meant the same seasoning he's used, but I knew you weren't using it lately.
Nope.
But I was like, what? Okay, sure. And so I used that.
I had to scrape that off.
And what did you mean?
I meant seasoning salt from Redmond's seasoning salt.
Yeah.
Which I don't know is in it, but I figured, well, Redmond's, it's reasonably safe.
Yeah.
Adds a little flavor. Let's see. Check in with the chat here. Dr. Wiedemann's, I think you meant, line about 1,000 day ones starting over was powerful.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And Lisa's saying, please listen to the audiobook Paris Hilton, The Memoirs. Your minds will be blown. She has ADHD and never got past 9th grade. I did not know that.
Neither did I. Interesting. Oh, what's her catchphrase? I'm hearing the vocal
Was she
fry.
thriving or something? Sliving?
I wish I could have pulled that out. I just didn't have it in me.
So
this weekend is a quiet weekend. No meetups.
Yep.
Yeah. And it is, again, I brought it up, going to be cold. We got a couple cold days coming up here. So we'll probably the poor dog will be going a little stir crazy.
The carnivore dog.
Yes, the carnivore dog. But then we are not, I don't think we're going to get the snow that some people are going to get and ice.
The carnivore dog.
Oh yeah. The carnivore dog.
Oh
geez. I think I know where you're going.
The carnivore diet's been too good for him. I mean, he's in sensational health and now he's found where the possums hide. And every time we go out, we drive in the side by side, he runs in front of it for several miles. And he gets a possum almost every single time we go out there. I don't know that he kills it because, plays possum, but they get relocated. And then they come to and they're like, where am I? I've been carried all over the place.
Holy cow.
But his hunting instinct, having been fed all that beef, is on fire. He's not a grain-fed pup.
No, he is not. He is not.
And he had hurt himself.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a limp. And did we take him to the vet?
We did not.
Because we knew what they were going to say.
Put him on a leash. He's got to have some rest.
Yeah. And what he needed was just more meat. And now he doesn't have a limp. He's fine.
But we put him on some rest.
Yeah. We didn't exercise him to the same level. No, he didn't do any side-by-side running
full tilt. But yeah.
He loves to do his cold plunge in the creek. And it was frozen over recently because it's been very cold. And but it was like 25 degrees the other day, and we did a loop, and he stops at the creek because he wants to do the cold plunge, and it's frozen over, and he can't get in. And I'm like, dog, it's 25 degrees. You get in there, you've got a half mile to run before you get to the house. You're going to be a giant ice cube. Mm-hmm. He doesn't care. He's a carnivore dog. He's like, I am mostly wolf. Do you think a wolf would balk at getting in the water if it wanted to? It would do it, and it would be fine. It doesn't have an indoors to get in.
Speaking of the dog, though, and wolves reminds me, what is the date today? January
17th.
17th. And we have a whole flock of robins in our side yard today. Like, it's a little early for the robins. They should not be here. And then our lake has this little patch of open water, and you saw 2 bald eagles hanging out.
I did
today.
Yeah. And for where we live, you see them occasionally, but it's not that common. Mm-mm. So to see 2 of them perched on the ice right where this open water was very, very interesting.
Yeah. You brought me out. I saw them too, but yeah.
So that's it.
That is it.
We have nothing else to say.
I think.
Except watch the Beast Games on Amazon if you've got it.
No. Are we going to watch that tonight?
We will watch some of that. It is the best. I don't really love reality TV, other than maybe home fix-up shows or something. I don't watch cooking shows because why? Why would I? Unless there's a carnivore one. But if you're familiar with Mr. Beast on YouTube, which his videos are really, really well designed to make them watchable. You may not love the idea of it, but this show is just amazing from the psychological viewpoint of what he makes these people decide. Very strange.
For another day, I kind of want to talk about how people make decisions. Like, I'm curious. Because making the decision to go carnivore is a big decision in a way. You're cutting off a lot of conditioning. You're cutting off a lot of food choices. And so I'm curious. So don't worry about it now. I don't want to bring up that whole can of worms.
Well, you brought it up. The worms have been opened.
Oh, no. Okay.
And my mind just went immediately to my macroeconomics class and the idea of incentives, and that tied in with the Mr. Beast TV show, because that's all about incentives and the effect it has on people. Mm-hmm. And, no one starts carnivore without an incentive.
Mm-hmm. Period.
You want to move from one level of suffering to a less level of suffering. Mm-hmm. And if the suffering is enough, it gives you enough motive power to take the step to start ratcheting up into health.
But then so that's one decision, right? That's the decision based on an incentive. Yet then I know some of my clients as well, there's self-doubt that comes in and they waver on their decision and they might go back and forth. And so then there's yes, go ahead.
So you're the good cop.
Yes.
And I'll be the Jocko Willink cop. They didn't make a decision to do it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is the discussion. Yeah.
Yeah. If they stopped, they didn't make a decision to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's one view. I'm not saying
we're not judging.
On the one hand, yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Because a decision etymologically,
yes,
is to cut off something. To cut off one option is to decide. And I think Tony Robbins would say the same thing, probably with the same voice as I just did.
I think so. yeah.
The guy with a million teeth. But yeah, I agree. I think that it is interesting why people decide to do carnivore, but I don't think that many people come to carnivore without, you want something from it.
Right.
No one does any sort of diet that's different than just the default sad American diet unless they want to improve their health. And the wanting to improve, there can be ego motives, there can be health motives. You can be worried about your longevity, your life. You could actually have already had a diagnosis that scares you, that sends you that direction. It could be a string of failures, and carnivore is the next thing up to try. But you haven't given up, so you're just trying new things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the ones that stick, though, a lot of people, I think that if you heal from something that's chronic, it makes it so much easier to stick.
Wow.
Because you know what the alternative is, and you don't want to step back into that. Because in consumer psychology, a loss is much more painful than a gain is pleasurable.
Well, for me, I know I wasn't much of a dieter at all in my history. I've done a little bit here. I did Weight Watchers. That was my big dieting foray. Otherwise, you've started something and I've dabbled. I mean, that's been usually what I've done. And with carnivore, my incentive was to lose weight. My doctor had already started me with doing eating windows and working on my metabolic state. And I already knew that I needed some help with my hormones. So that I knew. But the reason that I was able to do it is that a couple of years ago, I really started paying attention to what my body said about a decision, basically. So do I get a yes, like an energized yes toward something, move toward it? Or do I get a, I don't know, then that means maybe now is not the time. Or do I get the repulsive, no. So I started paying attention to that in about 2019. And the thing about carnivore for me was that I got a yes from my body. It was an absolute resonant yes. So that's how I even jumped on board. I still had doubt. I didn't think it was going to stick, which is one of the reasons I didn't tell you. And then I did experience that, some relief in allergies. Like I experienced stuff quickly that gave me the breadcrumbs that I was on the right path. But that decision was so different for me, making it from that and not using my mind to try to convince myself, basically. So I came into carnivore with a very firm decision. And I don't, me, I can see several sides of things, future, past. And so for me, making a solid decision like that is not common. I'm sort of like, yeah, whatever. I'm good. Yeah. I go with the flow. Yeah. But this was a solid, yes. So anyway, you wanted to open the worm?
No, I like that. I'm just thinking about it in terms of do I resonate with that, dude? I don't know if that's how I make decisions.
Yeah, no, this was brought to me from a coach, to experiment with. And I started to experiment with it. And I continue to kind of try to use that most of the time.
Yeah. I get a full body maybe frequently.
Yeah. And that usually means, well, in her, in this paradigm, The full body maybe is a no.
It's a provisional no.
It's a provisional no, not now.
Yeah.
It's a not now.
But when it came to carnivore, it was kind of last thing to try, because I knew if I did keto, I knew where that was going to get me, and it was only half measures.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see here. Oh, read a news article about how California ground squirrels will hunt and eat voles if they're available. Thought they were vegetarian. Story was nuts.
Wait, where is it? Yes.
Where is it?
Oh,
it's
no.
be in here. I don't see it.
Oh no. He was going to add a sound effect here.
I was.
Yeah.
I don't have it.
But now the moment has passed.
I recorded over it. Well, here, because I didn't have my pa-dump bump, we'll do this. Groovy Lisa. Hi, Groovy Lisa.
Hello, Groovy Lisa. Hello.
Wonderful to see you here. Yep. Y'all still carnivore because salad is toxic. Thank you, Alan. And I will hit the button. But that's all we get.
So, Alan, I've not been eating any salads lately, except for my carnivore Courtney Luna salad, which is not any vegetables at all. The base is bacon.
Yes.
Instead of lettuce, it's bacon.
Let's see. The air fryer is behind the rise in carnivore diet popularity. Yeah.
Big air fryer.
Yeah, that's right. And we have a big air fryer, the Typher.
Yes, we got our replacement.
Yeah.
And we sent the other one back.
And it worked. Yeah, their support was great. They sent us the replacement before they got back the other one.
Yeah.
So I was pretty pleased with that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Carnivore Chan's I need to heal. No plan B.
No, and you're telling your story. When we heard it, we're pulling for you and keep going.
Yeah, stay on the path.
Yeah.
When pain comes back every time you go off, it's easy to adhere. That's true, Agi.
Yes, which is why I haven't been eating salad, is because I was noticing that I was not optimal afterwards. But it's a little bit of a leg, like we were saying.
It is.
So it's not always easy to put together. And like I said, maybe I did handle it fine, but now don't think I am.
I started carnivore primarily as a challenge to my son-in-law, so he would heal arthritis and eczema. He stopped. I kept going, and wow, the benefits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's too bad. I mean, you can't make other people do what you want legally.
No. I was talking to a friend this week, and I haven't connected with her in about 6 months because she's had various health issues and we've moved and, life. And she's very carnivore curious. I will say that. And she has that conflict with, she does have a seizure disorder. So she already knows that ketosis is good for the brain. She knows that. But she also has high cholesterol and family history of heart disease. And the recommended diet for that is anything but keto. So, yeah. So that is where that's where she is. There's conflict there. And I get it. I mean,
I get that she's told that those are problems.
Yes.
But is she living her best life? Is she following Dr. Hampton's guidance on that?
And that's where we sort of went to. And again, I can't make her, and I don't want to push her anyone. And especially she's got a lot going on. So I don't want to influence her. I want it to be her decision if she wants to jump on board, but I'm here for a resource. So what I realized today, though, I mean, this is a duh moment, really. So my father died of a heart attack when he was 43, and he was a smoker. He was also extremely overweight, and his diet was horrible. There was alcohol involved. There was a whole bunch of stuff. But I realized today that I'm always like, oh, he died of a heart attack. So in my mind, the family has heart issues. But what he really had was a metabolic issue.
Yeah.
My dad died of a metabolic issue. And when you frame it that way, it's a whole different thing. So anyway, I'm all about reframing today. What is it with me?
It's what you do, I guess, for a living is reframe things. Well, before we leave, we got to check in with Alan. I'm so proud of you, JJ. You have officially crossed over. We shall see, because I'll know if you've had a salad.
That was the weird thing too, is he could
I smell it on you.
He could smell it on me. which is, that's funny and all. But I'm like, wait a minute, my body should not be emitting salad because we know this carnivores, when the body is processing things well,
yeah,
it's a whole different body odor story.
Yeah.
Breath story, body odor story.
I can just picture you'll come home after one of those outings with your friend, and Alan and I and Annette and Lisa and Courtney will all be in the living room. I'm like, JJ, we have to talk to you about your salad issue.
The big intervention.
My face is starting to hurt from laughing.
What a way to kick off the weekend. I'm glad we're a little later tonight. This has been a lot of fun.
So what time does Bella's show start?
I don't know if it starts at the top of this hour or the next hour, but we're kind of like her pre-show tonight.
She doesn't know that.
Her warm-up.
Yeah.
Her warm-up comic, is that what it is?
Yeah. Oh,
no, she has no clue.
Oh, okay. We're gonna sign off.
Yes.
We will be back with a pre-recorded video on Tuesday. It's our interview with Charlie. You want to see this.
Yeah.
It is absolutely incredible. The changes he's gone through thanks to Carnivore. A very inspiring story, and relatable to anyone at any stage of Carnivore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have some more interviews scheduled. So we will be telling you more about those when we know anything to tell.
Yeah.
So that's it.
So until next time, bye-bye.